This is some old engine, which I'm not familiar with. Got a bit of info there. Bit of info there. Seems to be Whitworth. And see what happens. You might remember the Briggs and Stratton ZZ that I pulled off that garden tractor. And it sat on the bench here for ages, and one day in an afternoon I decided I'm going to pull this thing to pieces. So I pulled it all to pieces and didn't take any video, thinking that this engine's probably going to be no good. But anyway, I pulled it to pieces, and as soon as you got inside it, it started looking okay. It was really rusty on the outside, and the cylinder head, really ugly looking thing, but it actually cleaned up, full of carbon. And I pulled it to pieces. The piston here, the piston, you can probably see it must have been bored out 20 thou, oversize. So, yeah, I suppose a lot of things can happen between 1943 and now. So I've pulled it to pieces there. I put a ring inside there. There's 35 thou gap in the ring, in the ends of the ring, which is a bit much, but if you're just doing it up to make it run, it'll be fine. And a bit of rust in the barrel, but not bad. The valves were really bad. I've cleaned them up, got them good. The seats were really bad. I've had to cut the seats on this one. That's the intake valve. Cut the seats on it. Now they're pretty good. So it'll definitely go. Whereas the reason it had no compression before, because once again, the valve's no good. So I've pulled it to pieces. It's got spark now. I've managed to get spark. And the carby cleaned out okay. It cleaned out okay. I reckon that's been replaced at some stage. And there's the cowling. It's army green from 1943. Probably made in Wisconsin. I don't know where this was made. Probably Wisconsin. That's where Briggs and Strattons were made in America. So I think I'll put it together and see if we can make it go. The next move is I have to put this piston back on here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll put a bit of oil in there, a bit on here, a bit down there, and make sure that goes in there nice and good. Good. They can sometimes be a bit tricky and want to nick off on you. There we go. And I'll put a heap of oil around the rings here. The gasket has to go on here. There we go. Now the next tricky bit, try and get all these rings in here. There we have it. Put the nuts on now. You got 1, 2, and a third one around the front where the valves go. Here. And that's what holds the barrel on the block. So after you grind the valve, you've got the problem of no clearance. And especially if you grind a heap out of the seats. So I've got that big problem at the moment, and they're nowhere near touching. So I've sort of decided that might go with 10 thou, and so I'm going to have to take a bit off these valves now. You can make some adjustment, but not too much adjustment. So I'll give it a bit, I'll take a bit of a grind off it first. This is it, doing the tappets. 3 spanner job, just about. And then you've got to get the 3rd spanner to undo the top nut and just give it a bit of up, because I've just tightened them up a bit. And when you do that, you tighten that, the lock nut, then we measure. Oh dear, too much. Righto. 8 thou. It's, you know, nice and loose. 10 doesn't really want to go in there. Yep, so I think we're going to leave it at that. How much fun is it putting these little fellas in? But they got to go in up there. You know how it goes. They fall out a few times and then eventually you get them. Now we can put the valve in. Now we can put this thing on. Check the tappets. There's 8. Yeah, he's good. Pretty happy with that. I've got a new gasket, fibre washer under there, and I should be able to put this all together now. Wrong size. Let's try this size. If you're going to use a second-hand head gasket, not a bad idea to get some of this stuff. I found not too bad. Just helps to seal a second-hand gasket. We probably wouldn't normally do this, but it just helps it seal a bit better. We'll see if we can put it back on there. Which way around does it go? Now I've got to find the bolts. Should have done that first. Oh, here's another 2. I reckon these 2 would nearly have to be here. And there's a broken one. So I might have to get a new bolt. I'll just put some tension on these, make them a nice gentle 15, and just see how we go with that. I'm going to take this flywheel off and have a bit of a look in there. I'm just trying to work out if I can put some paint on it. I haven't worked out a colour yet. I haven't done this flywheel. Tight. That's what that looks like in there. This is how it works. You flick that out the road, that goes out of there, and there you have the points. And these old engines run a points system, and condenser, coil, and away it goes. And then you've got the magnet in there that generates the spark. So yeah, it's got spark, so we're happy with that. All right, here we are a couple of days later, and I have painted this engine. Got him all painted up. There's heaps of bits around that I have got bits painted here. More bits and pieces here, and I've been messing around here for quite a while, getting all this stuff sorted. So now I can start putting it back together again. Biggest problem with putting this engine together is I don't know where everything goes anymore. There, the holes line up. Right, let's find some bolts. That's how it goes. We'll just keep on going until and it looks all right without knocking too much paint off. This piece goes on here, and a little bit tricky to get on there too. So next is the flywheel, and let's get this bit of tape off here. And right, just got to line up that keyway with that keyway. That's a Woodruff key, and it sits in there pretty loose, but then I've got to go and get the nut, which I haven't been able to find a better nut. It's just, she's just rusted out, I'm afraid, but you'd think you'd find another nut the same size, but same thread. Nope, they're all different. We'll just do it up gently here at the moment. If you have to do the points on this engine, you have to take it off. See if I can work out how to get this attached on here. And doesn't look that hard. I think this is going to be it. It just goes on there. Quick, get a bolt. Nope. Yep. That one went. And that one went. It'll be these screws go up here. I'll get them in. You can see down here, she's a bit, this is cast. Most modern engines are made of tin. This is a cast cowling. And it's broken a bit around there, but anyway, it'll be right. Yeah, this one's the other side. And it's good still, so it'll be good. I can tell you, this thing's getting heavy. I've got to put the carby on now. I've got a new gasket there and some better bolts, so that'll go on there. Yeah, I've got to hook the little throttle wire on, throttle cable. We won't do it up too much in case it's got to come out later. Trying to work out how we get the air cleaner on here. It looks like it goes on here like this. Oh, look at that. That's bent. I'll have to straighten that out. There. That seems to fit pretty good there now. But this seems to hit under here. We've got a few more modifications to do yet. Righto, that's looking better. I'm almost happy enough for that. So, righto, I'll continue. Next bit I'm going to put on is try and put this fuel tank bracket on. Righto, I've got to say, fellas, this is starting to look like an engine. And now I can tell you one thing. This thing is heavy. It's the heaviest engine little thing that anyway, compared to a modern engine, it's heavy. So the next thing I'm going to do is try and put this pulley on, this lock washer. So I'll have to do it up a bit. It looks like it's 1.16 inches. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a hit here. We'll see if we can just get it a bit tighter. Making a mess. Got to make sure I can get that on there. Well, that's it. That's going to fit pretty good right there. She's got compression. I'm not going to put a real lot of tension on them, so there it is. That engine's looking pretty complete. If I put that on there, air cleaner in, hat on there, that's looking like the engine should look. and sit it back on its, minus the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank, I'm afraid, it's got some issues. It sits on there. Anyway, I'm looking for a new fuel tank. This is the tag that came off this engine, so I'm going to try and put it back on there. I've got it a bit shined up, so I've got the little screws, and it goes right there. Have a look at that. There he is. She's back to good again. Yep, she's looking good. Righto, fellas, that's where I'm going to leave it for this video. And we'll get it going next time.